Go? Cool. All right. We're going to move these out of the way, too, so they're not in the shot the entire time. Hey, somebody count attendance this time, too? Okay, good. All right, everybody. Welcome to the fourth meeting for Game Development Club. We are so happy to have you here. Also, attendance numbers are still up this semester, which is really good. So, hey, we're happy for you. We're happy to have you guys here. How's everybody feeling tonight? I feel like a comedian up here sometimes. Just like, hey, how's everybody doing? Like, yeah. All right. So obviously, we're gonna kick off with some announcements. First up, actually. Carl, why don't you come on up here? You were going to talk to the club real quick. So Carl, everybody, this is the man we appointed to be our creative chair for this semester. Everybody, let's give him a round of applause. I think he rightfully deserves it. Here, wait. You even get to wear the microphone of honor.
Okay. So kind of to all the creative types, whether that's drawing, music, writing, or even if you just have a really strong interest in that kind of area, try and stick around afterwards so we can kind of get a feel of the types of people we have here and your interests. If you are in a hurry, I'm at least trying to get names and email addresses of people so I can try and get some emails out so I can kind of figure out if there's anything in particular you'd like to get to learn about, whether that's writing, art, music. I don't know if there's anything else you want me to...
No, I mean, this is your thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's Carl. Everybody, round of applause. Great speech. Okay. So so everybody just stick around if you're one of the creative types. Of course, we've got upcoming event reminders. I hate that this gets cut off super early. It's gonna make one of the pictures look weird later on the slides. But first up, we don't have a workshop this weekend. Instead, next weekend is going to be our next workshop, and we're gonna be talking about how to make your first game. For many of you guys, you might have been working on a Minicade game or something like that, but if you remember, in 3 weeks is going to be our first game jam. So we want to do a workshop telling you guys how to just finish a game, going over how to make your first game, how to maybe plan for it, how to go about doing that kind of stuff, so we can help you guys for the game jam and get you guys kind of prepared for that. Make sense? Okay, so speaking of game jam, upcoming event reminder number 3 is the game jam. Remember to mark your calendars for October 21st to 23rd if you haven't already, because we have our very first game jam coming up. And it's going to be a really great time. We already have the space reserved. It's going to be fan-freaking-tastic. Finally, this Friday, we are going to have a social night right here in this building. Not this room. It'll be in one of those other rooms. It's in Carver 268. It's a bigger room with more TVs, so we can hook up more game systems. People have more space to play games. But they have tables like this, so we'll probably rearrange the room. There will be pizza. However, in order to get pizza, you must be a dues-paying member. Which leads me into my next announcement. And this is always an awkward topic. This is the birds and the bees talks with us and you guys. So we do have dues in this club. We don't like the fact that we are required to have them through Iowa State, but it's the only way that we can get funding from the actual university is to have dues. So we decided to come up with the best way to give you guys dues is to make them optional for most of the things that we do, except for the stuff that costs money. Things like free pizza, things like raffles and prizes and stuff like this. So as you can see in my lovely chalkboard thing that I wish we could shut off these lights. This is just kind of the 3 different tiers of dues that we have. That was highly ineffective. All right, so just to lay things out, most of the things that you guys do are free. Most of the things that we do with this club are free. The general meetings, the workshops and workspaces, YouTube videos, Twitch time, all that stuff is free. We encourage you guys to show up to as many of those things and come and participate in as many of those things as possible. Those are all really great because those things we don't have to pay money for. We don't pay money to do YouTube is free to upload videos, workshop and workspaces. The only thing that we spend is our time creating them, everything like that. So now when you actually start paying for our club, there are 2 different tiers. One is just where you get a t-shirt, and the other one is where you get social nights and raffles and prizes and tournament prizes opportunities. The biggest draw is probably the social nights, at least from my point of view. I don't know about you guys. What's your favorite part of being, I guess, dues-paying members?
I get it.
You love the t-shirt? Okay.
I get to stay on the exec board.
Ryan's only on the exec board because he paid his dues. All right, but yeah, so that's kind of the idea is anything that would cost us money, so like the pizza and everything like that. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And then the third tier, the $20 one where you get the T-shirt, that is just pure advertising for us. We just want more people to see our T-shirts. So plus you guys get a T-shirt out of it. Kind of makes sense. So if any of you guys paid dues tonight, here's what you guys are getting. If you haven't paid yet, now you guys know what you're getting. And I'll even give you a little bit more of a hint. So I am a lazy son of a bitch and have not had time to actually design the T-shirt yet. But I've had this idea in my mind for months, and it's basically going to take what our new logoing and what's that word? Outward face. What's the branding? Taking our branding that we've been doing with the red print stuff, looking at controllers and everything like that, merging it with Pac-Man, making it spell ISUGDC on the T-shirt, and then giving it to you guys. It's gonna look pretty cool, I hope. And I'm gonna actually be using some of my professional designer friends to help me out with it, get things color right and everything like that. So I'll actually have that up by next week. I'm making a promise that next week I will have the design done and ready to show you guys off. It's a bold promise, but that's the reason I'm making it, because if I don't make it, I'm not going to do it. So, okay.
Setting deadlines is a really good thing in the creative process.
Yeah, setting deadlines is a great thing. Finally, tonight. Okay, so this is something I've been hinting at a little bit and something I wanted to get started so much earlier than just this week. We're 8 weeks into the semester now? 6 weeks? 7 weeks? Okay, we're at least 14 weeks into the semester. and this is something that I've been wanting to do since the very start. So, after tonight's meeting, we're going to set up what I'm calling Gamers Anonymous. We're not addicted to games, but instead we're addicted to the idea of game development. What I want to do is I actually want to start a podcast with you guys. Something where we all are just sitting around talking about our favorite games that we've been playing recently, about why we like them, mechanically or narratively or aesthetically. What's making the games that we're playing now great? It'll be a chance for you guys to sit down, just discuss your favorite games with each other, discuss why we love games, why we like game development, and different things like that. And then also putting it up on the internet for other people to listen to. This is a great chance to show off that knowledge that you have about game design and all that other stuff. So if that's something that you're interested in, that'll be tonight. We're going to start doing it after every single meeting for half an hour to an hour, depending on how long we get talking about stuff. But the idea is it's just going to be us sitting in a circle around a Yeti microphone and shooting the breeze about the games that we've been playing recently and why we like them, why we're continuing to play them, and why they don't totally blow. And so that's the kind of idea. I would love it if any of you guys are interested in that, just stick around and I'll be setting up my mic and getting ready to go for that. Okay. I always go longer on announcements than I feel like I should, but it's because I'm long-winded as shit. Okay, so tonight's meeting, as the wonderful whoever put this up here is all about ideas. It was his? Great job. Yeah, great job. Anyways, okay. So who in here has ever had an idea for a video game? Yeah, never? Never? I expected far fewer hands. No, I'm kidding. I expected pretty much all of you guys to raise your hand because that's half the reason you're here. But I wanted to ask you guys a question. I wanted to open up tonight's discussion with an idea from you guys. Is there such a thing as a good idea or a bad idea? Are there ideas that maybe you shouldn't make into games? Are there ideas that maybe should be tried but won't work out? What are you guys feeling? Is there such thing as a good idea or such thing as a bad idea?
Something you worked on, so it helped you develop your skills, and also some of the ideas can be useful in actually more successful in projects.
Right.
Or if there's any failed parts, you know why they failed and know not to do them.
Okay, so does anybody have a counter to that? Does anybody want to argue that there might be a bad idea? I'll play devil's advocate. Okay, you go. E.T. was a pretty bad idea, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Right before I came here, me and my roommate, we were playing Call of Duty Zombies, which as far as a mixed bag, I don't think there's really a better example. And we were playing Black Ops and we were discussing yeah, it kind of went downhill after this. The one we arrived on was a transit.
Mm-hmm.
How they tried a lot of these really great ideas that, like, on paper, this sounded great. I remember watching the trailers and thinking, I'm so hyped to play this, but then I played it, and it completely broke up the flow of the game,
Really?
and, like, just destroyed how it was played.
So do you think that those were bad ideas then?
Yeah, I would say so.
You say so? All right. Anybody else? Got anything for good games or good ideas or bad ideas?
You can have an idea that like sounds good, but then you prototype it and you decide, you know what, this is not a good idea, or perhaps it's just infeasible. So I would say there could be bad ideas.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I feel like ideas depend on how you execute them, how well you apply them.
Okay.
Make it workable.
Gotcha.
So if you have an idea but you don't really like, you're not able to like really portray it well, then it's gonna turn out badly.
It's gonna turn out pretty bad.
Pokemon that's a trash bag?
Isn't that actually a Pokemon
Yeah,
too?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There's two
Okay.
of them.
Yeah. There's two. There's like isn't there a starting form and evolved form? Yeah. Okay.
I think you can title something as like a bad idea. Like in the end, it's good to have bad ideas because all these ideas that we think of to create a good game have been based on our experiences with other games, whether they were bad or good. So you're able to learn from other people's bad ideas. And
Gotcha.
good ideas.
So what about more about good ideas? Anybody have any other comments about good ideas?
Well, I feel like ideas are, it's just, there's no good or bad. It's just you iterate over a thought, you get as much as you can out, and then you build upon it and you iterate. That's design thinking. It's the whole creative process.
Cool. Okay. Now there was one that I was waiting to hear from you guys, but I wasn't actually sure if I was going to because it is kind of a niche thing. What about ideas that aren't just bad in execution, but aren't necessarily something that needs to be made? Have any of you guys heard of the game Hatred? For those of you who haven't, it's actually a very kind of sad game about simulating, is it a mall shooting? Yeah, a mall shooting. It's not something that, it was incredibly controversial. I mean, let's be real here. That's an incredibly controversial idea for a game, right? But would any of you guys call that a bad idea or a good idea? How do we feel about something like that? This is just a discussion. Like, I don't mean to like freak you guys out or scare you. I just want to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. I saw you first because I was ignoring these guys. So you go first. Okay.
Execution-wise, not something you should have done, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's
Bad idea. Okay.
I would just say it should be.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna go for the Wall's answer here and say that it was an idea that was created specifically so they can get a lot of mass media coverage.
Yep. All right. That's very much a good idea. And in that case, was it bad or good? Because it got a shit ton of media coverage. I mean, it got him on the face, like it got him on the news and everything like that.
It was an evil idea.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I think it's a controversial game, but like, the whole idea is like, there's a lot of games are an art, and there's been lots of controversial art throughout history, you know, and I think that it's not necessarily a bad idea, but like, you have to realize where you're going to get shit for this.
Yeah.
And by the way, their second game they made is a ISIS fighting game.
Really?
Yeah, and there's also
I have not heard of that one.
yeah, and then there's also a Columbine shooting game.
Oh God.
So
Fucking of course there is. All right, we're gonna wrap up just these last three, and then we'll wrap up this discussion. But I do want to hear you guys' thoughts on this.
If you treat with respect, like, say you're not a shooter, but like a victim trying to avoid the shooters,
Mhm.
that could be like more respectful than just killing.
It could say a strong statement, right? It could say something like incredibly powerful. It could make some people think about that kind of stuff.
I have a question for the peanut gallery. Was this game greenlit on Steam
Yeah,
for a time? It got taken
it-
down.
Yep.
but then they got like complained, and it's still on Steam.
It sold so poorly anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
I'm
still on
not-
Steam, you can
I'm
pick
not
it
an
up.
artsy person by any means, but from my viewpoint, I think the creators of that game knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
It's like the
All
South
that
Park
success
effect.
their company got from
Yeah.
it,
South Park
if
effect.
you can call it success, I think that was the point.
Infamy. That infamy is the word.
When I
Yep.
saw the opening scene, my skin crawled and I just got jealous. I was like, you guys know how to push a product.
Yeah. All right. All right. Final comment on this.
I was gonna say controversial is always bad.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah, controversial isn't necessarily always bad. I mean, I know for a fact that there have been games out there that will completely change their series ideas. Not Metroid Federation Force, but there are games out there that will change the entire gameplay and then it works great, right? Again, not Federation Force, but there are games out there that have done it before. Just the jump from, and staying with Metroid, the jump from 2D to 3D was an amazing one. Prime, like the Prime series is lauded, but was highly controversial when it got announced. All right, now for real, final comment.
All right, so she was saying like controversial isn't always a bad thing. One other example springs to mind when she says that. You ever heard of 6 Days in Fallujah?
Yes, that was a it was a,
No,
it was a,
they wanted to make
someone.
a game about the Battle of Fallujah based on actual like testimony of American soldiers.
Yeah. Okay.
And this thing
Oh, I think I did hear about this. This was during that all video games cause violence bullshit that happened, like media shitstorm that happened a long time ago.
The one that's happening right now.
No, it's always been happening, but like there was a spike in it. And actually, fun fact for all you guys, all that data that they say like supports video games cause violence, that was done here at Iowa State. That was actually done by one of our psych professors. They are cited across the board as the reason why people think video games cause violence. But he has gone on the record as saying there were biases in the studies and you should not use them anymore for evidence. So, yes, exactly. So just a quick fun fact for you guys. All right. So moving away from this very macabre, very, very like depressing topic of this game, what I want you guys, we're going to move more into the idea of idea generation. I just wanted to talk about ideas being good or bad and all this idea, and you guys have been saying a lot of the things that we actually believe here in at ISU GDC, among a lot of our exec members, and many of you guys as well, from what I've been hearing. ISU GDC believes that our ideas are good. Having the idea is good. Having a thought about a game, having inspiration, having some sort of creative stimulus, some sort of response is good. Have the ideas. Now, does that, like we were saying about hatred, should you execute on all of them? That's a different story. But having the idea is good. And so what we're going to talk to you today about is some of the ways that you guys can come up with more ideas. Because some of you guys have come up to us before saying you guys are struggling coming up with mini game ideas for Minicade. Or maybe you guys have an idea, but it's not fully fleshed out, and you guys are missing some key parts of it. We've had people talk to us about that. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the different parts of actual ideas, right? First part is generation and the inspiration behind it. So how many of you guys have ever just tell me if this sounds familiar. You're just sitting there in your room, maybe it's like right before you're falling asleep, all of a sudden an idea pops in your head and you're like, oh my God, this is the most genius thing ever. You quickly go jot it down and then you're just flying by the seat of your pants for like the next 3 days thinking about it constantly. Does that sound familiar to anybody at all? Okay, yeah, at least a little bit. Maybe not the 3 days thing, but at least a little bit. Like you've had that moment where you're just sitting there like, oh my God, this is a genius idea for a game. That's inspiration, obviously. And what I wanted to do is actually talk to you guys about a small little book that I'm going to use to transfer into. Have any of you guys read this book? Steal Like an Artist. You've read this book?
Yeah.
Really?
My sister had to read it for high school this year.
Really? That's actually really cool. This is one of my favorite books out there. This book tells you basically how to come up with ideas, how to be inspired, how to take all the crap in the world and filter it down into something good. How to hear everything that everybody's saying, ignore the bad stuff, and only come out with the good stuff. In fact, I have some of my favorite quotes from this. Right over here. 1 + 1 = 3. That's actually a page in this book. I could go and find it for you. The artist is a collector. Creativity is not magic. Creativity is everyone. Fake it till you make it. And my personal favorite, nothing is original. So, a lot of what this book talks about is looking at the world through the lens of somebody who is a collector, less a genius. Somebody who doesn't come up with ideas on their own, but instead sits down and thinks through the world and goes, all right, what's shit? All right, I don't like that. I don't like that. I kind of liked what this was doing. Well, I could probably work that in and then doing something with it, right? It's all this idea about looking at what sucks, getting rid of that, and just keeping what's good. And this book is a fantastic idea, is a fantastic thing about that. In fact, me and Ryan right here have a little example of our own about how we've stolen like an artist. Oh, well, that was a poster. How many of you guys have heard of Minicade? Okay. So, obviously you guys have heard of Minicade. But the thing about it is Minicade sprung up from this idea, right? We were sitting there brainstorming. We were trying to come up with a game jam idea. We were thinking to ourselves, what theme could we have? But we were sick of just doing like a theme and then people doing the same. We'd done that like 4 different times. We were trying to think of something unique and clever. And then somebody was thinking like, well, what if we made the board for Mario Party and then we had our members make the games for the game jam? And we were like, oh, that's really cool. Us being our lazy bastards that we are, didn't follow through on this. It kind of sat in the back of our mind for like a year and a half. Yeah, a year, an entire, like a year, it just sat there for like a year being like, yeah, we're totally going to do this, eventually. But the idea is that we had this idea, and then Ryan just was sitting in the car, like riding home.
Winter break.
Yeah, tell the story.
Oh, okay. I guess I can tell it.
Oh, God damn it.
So, I was going home winter break 2015 last year.
You can do this, Ryan.
Thank you. Pin strength. I was not driving home. My dad was driving me, so don't think I was on my phone writing this idea down while I was driving, because I wasn't.
Don't text and drive, kid.
Don't text and drive.
Don't drive. Stay in school.
That also. So basically I'd found this technology that allows you to use your phone as a controller, and I was like, all right, how can we use this? How can we take this and make it something awesome? And we had talked about making the board game thing, or the big game for the club, and we wanted people to be able to be interactive. And since you could have your phone be the controller, you could have the entire club partake in this one game. And so that kind of just led on to, okay, but if everyone's playing this one game, how is that going to work? How are we going to make this game like fun? How is it going to be fun and fast-paced? And I was like, all right, let's make mini games. Mini games are fast, they're fun, they're easy to make. And I was like, okay, let's keep going, let's keep going. What if we had our members make the mini games, and just so on from there? And I have like this giant, like 500-word idea that's still on my phone to this day of what I was typing down in the car all those months ago. So like, and I was like, as I was doing it, it was crazy, because I was like, this is a good idea. I feel like this is a good idea.
I was inspired.
I was very inspired.
But also, fun fact, those are all 500 of the words that Ryan's knows.
Yes. Thank you, Zach.
You're welcome.
Every word.
I had to throw it into the bus there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and that's the end of that story.
That's the end of that story. We didn't come up with the idea of mini games all on our own, right? We've all played Mario Party. Every single one of us had played Mario Party on the exec board at the time. Board part, it eventually. It doesn't happen instantaneously, obviously. But we've all played Mario Party, and we were thinking like, oh yeah, that'd be a pretty cool idea. It wasn't an entirely original idea. We just kind of took something that exists and rolled with it. And so we encourage you guys to do that. When you guys are thinking of mini games for Minicade, you want to know one of the best things you could do is just go play Mario Party and directly rip off one of their games.
Someone did during the workspace say they were looking at like a Mario Party 3 game or something.
Did they really?
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, just go online, look up some Mario Party gameplay footage, and just design the same game that they have up there. It's a great place to start. Once you keep going with that, maybe you'll just think of some way that you can make it different. But the idea is just start with something. Just stick with something that isn't necessarily your own idea. Don't put all the pressure on yourself to be a genius. It doesn't work. I tried doing that, and look where I'm at.
Make sure you don't record it.
You're not a genius, Ryan. So anyways, does that kind of make sense? Kind of makes a little bit of sense? Okay, there's a little bit next part to generation, though. Oh.
Pictures.
Yeah, it's pictures. I thought I put in a word slide here. Okay. There's another way that you guys can help come up with ideas. Just take 2 things that don't feel like they have any reason whatsoever being put together, and then put them together. Just stick them together. It's like chicken pot pies. Like, who thought chicken pot pies were good? They were like, all right, let's take regular pies and then put chicken in them. Like, who thought that was a good idea? They turned out all right, though. There's a lot of different ideas out there. All these games that you see up there are take 2 different genres, mash them together, and we're all critically acclaimed games. Portal took the first-person shooter, added in a puzzle, and bam, is one of the best-selling games, one of the highest-rated games ever of all time. Borderlands 2 was just a regular shoot-'em-up. It used to have a really shitty-looking art style, and then they made it aesthetic-wise. But what they did was they added in the loot system from Diablo, and all of a sudden, massive success. Just huge success everywhere, all over the. Never mind, I'm not gonna finish that joke. But anyways, it got massive. And Crypt of the Necrodancer. Have any of you guys heard of Crypt of the Necrodancer? Because it's a rhythm-based roguelike RPG. You have to attack on the beat. The music is running in the background, and there's a little thing at the bottom, and you have to move and attack all on the same beat. Sometimes they switch up the beat. You got like a conga beat going on in the background. Or maybe you have just like a hard rock, heavy metal beat going on in the background. It's really, really awesome and worked so incredibly well. Side note, the art for that game was done by an ISU alum. Yeah, so that's really cool. Anyways,
Genuine reaction.
yeah. So yeah, no, it's a pretty neat fact. But there's also this other game that I don't know if any of you guys have heard of called Chroma. It got announced, I think, 2 years ago, and it's like a minute and a half, so I'll just play this. You guys can see what we're talking about. Let's hit the lights.
Turn-based RPG.
That's a lot of fun.
Turn-based first-person shooter.
How am I this much of a fuck up? How?
I didn't realize that it had started.
How did I fuck up again? Oh my god.
You're only missing about 30 minutes on the game.
Maybe again? I might have hit mute on it.
I'm declining that one.
Serial murder!
Objection!
Yes! Strategy!
Falsely accused small child. The bubonic plague. Violence and disability.
It was almost a coma dream.
Medieval!
Victorian. It's both sci-fi and medieval.
Underwater.
Orchestra!
Victorian London.
Dick butt!
Hedgehog. Hedgehog Q.
Memes! Dick memes! Scream that one a little bit louder.
Sorry, anybody?
Can you say it?
Harambe!
The game is already
If we die, we just go.
Person you talk to in your head.
No, we're talking about the other guy.
Schizophrenic.
Sacrifice.
a game about making the worst game possible.
Actually, a game jam theme. Yeah.
Farting?
Teaching Zach.
God damn it.
Robert.
All right. I think we've got a pretty good one. It does say falsely accused small child. All right. We've got some pretty good ones up there.
Yeah.
All right. Correctly accused small child. Oh boy.
All right, let's make a game.
All right. So, what you guys just experienced is literally actually one of the best forms of brainstorming that there is. Usually there's some sort of theme to it. Usually you're like, all right guys, we need to come up with like colors, and then you do that. Generally you don't have potatoes and a falsely accused small child on the board at the same time. Yeah, that's falsely accused potato child. Okay, but so it's a really, really good idea because we got actually some pretty good things up here. We got all different sorts of things. Like definitely there's some combination of this stuff that we can make, right? Okay, should we start? Do you guys want to try to make a game out of some of this stuff? Should we actually try to? All right, let's try. All right, we're gonna do the very first, okay, we're gonna start with this. What is the main character?
No, you can choose between falsely accused and.
Okay, so it's a choice-based game where you choose whether you are.
Oh, sure, you're erasing that.
Sorry, I need to. So choice of falsely or correctly accused small child.
Accused small child. So it's a horror game because small children. Yeah, horror game because children.
Give me a genre.
All right.
Are only
Definitely a horror.
Okay. So now. All right. What's our genre? Somebody, let's make a genre up. Linux.
That can be a genre.
Why? I hate this.
Okay. So point and click or Linux. Let's vote.
Wait.
Or text-based adventure. All right, we'll go with point and click adventure. We're gonna do point and click adventure. I think that works for this. I think this works pretty well for that.
So wait, can plague be a part of that? Like she's dead because she died from the plague.
All right. So
Having the plague.
what's the main story? Yeah, what's the main story?
Cthulhu is her father.
Cthulhu is her father. We're just going with that one. That's a great one.
That's character
Jesus.
building. That's
Okay, so Cthulhu is her father, and what?
may or may not.
Potato.
She's got scurvy or some shit.
Blindness.
Oh yeah.
Blindness.
Potato farmer Cthulhu dad.
Farting how about farting potatoes instead of donuts? Multiple choices.
You can go the donut route or the potato route.
All right, okay, so it looks like our main story is actually just going to be Cthulhu is her father and potatoes.
Wait, what about potatoes?
We'll say have taken over the world or are invading the world. We'll say and potatoes are
The potatoes are
Beating the
blind.
shit
and
Like a fully baked
and potatoes have been classified as an assault weapon.
and she's like
And they shot
got
first.
the greatest arm and she just like shoots them at you.
All right.
Like the
The falsely accused small child
Or she's like
was accused
swinging
of
them.
eating a potato. The falsely accused small child was
During-
accused of killing someone with a potato.
All right. All right. But we're missing something pretty vital. What's the setting?
Sci-fi jail.
Sci-fi jail. Sci-fi jail goes really, really well with falsely or correctly accused small child. So we're gonna. We'll go with sci-fi jail. We'll go with sci-fi jail. I like that. Yeah. Yep. All right. What else are we missing? What else are we missing? Let's. What's the plot twist? GNU. Huh? Dick butt.
Dick butt.
What if Dick butt is actually her father?
You are not the father.
Cthulhu's just like, what the fuck you saying?
With all his little kind of
With all his like little.
All right.
no.
So we're gonna kind of finish up here. It is actually 8:02, and we're gonna get these kind of finished up. But so yeah, we have officially created a game. It's a sci-fi jail game where you play as either a falsely or correctly accused small child, and it is going to be a revolution in point-and-click adventures. The main plot point in this is that you are Cthulhu's daughter. And potatoes have become weapons. You have been accused of using a weapon to bludgeon Cthulhu. But don't worry, there's a plot twist. In this universe, you can murder your parents. It was okay to murder Cthulhu because Dick Butt is your dad. Okay, I'd play it. 10 out of 10, IGN. All right. So as always, you guys, go forth, make games, be awesome. All right. So to everybody out on YouTube, sorry for the weird voice cut thing. I'm bad. Okay, but if any of you guys have ever had any ideas or anything crazy that you guys have ever done for game jam or something like that, make sure to leave a comment down in the section below. So yeah, do whatever you do.